Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into a molecule that's really making waves, well, maybe quiet waves, in longevity research, spermidine. So what is it exactly? It sounds a bit strange, but it's actually a natural compound, a polyamine, found in pretty much every living cell. And it's like totally fundamentally to how your cells work.
That's absolutely right. It's integral. Think basic cellular jobs like DNA stabilization, basically keeping your genetic info safe, and protein synthesis, building everything the cell needs. But here's the key thing. Our natural levels, they tend to drop as we age. And this drop, well, the hypothesis is that it's directly contributing to that physiological decline we often see.
Right. The stuff we just associate with getting older.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to really dig into the science here, explore spermidine, look at its potential health benefits, and figure out how you might actually harness its power for, healthier aging. Maybe hit that cellular refresh button. Okay, let's unpack this core idea. Spermidine's biggest claim to fame seems to be inducing autophagy, which is what, like the cell's self-cleaning process.
Exactly. Think of it as the cell's recycling program. It breaks down damaged bits, old proteins, that kind of cellular junk, and then it recycles those components. It's essential for keeping things tidy inside the cell.
How does spermidine actually trigger that?
Well, it does it by inhibiting certain enzymes, acetyltransferases, and modulating key pathways. Think of master switches like mTOR and AMPK. Spermidine essentially nudges these switches towards clean and repair mode instead of just grow and store. It helps maintain that crucial balance, preventing waste buildup.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting for me. This cellular cleanup, it actually translates into bigger benefits, right? I saw animal studies showing it extended lifespan.
That's correct. In mice, it showed up to a 25% increase in lifespan, which is, significant in animal models.
25%, that's huge.
Yeah.
What about humans, though? Do we see anything similar?
Well, we don't have direct lifespan extension trials like that in humans, obviously, but the epidemiological data is quite compelling. We see associations where higher dietary spermidine intake is linked to a 24% reduction in overall mortality.
24%, yeah.
And get this, a 47% reduction in the risk of Alzheimer's disease. That really makes you ask, what is its protective role here against these age-related diseases?
Wow. Almost half for Alzheimer's risk. And beyond just living longer or brain health, you mentioned other things, like heart health.
Yes, cardioprotection is another big area. It seems to help heart cells with their own autophagy, improves blood flow, reduces arterial stiffness, good for the plumbing, and neurologically, beyond Alzheimer's risk, it appears to support memory function and reduce neuroinflammation.
And the immune system. That seems relevant, especially for aging.
Absolutely fascinating area. Spermidine can help restore the function of T and D cells, your key immune soldiers. This could potentially boost vaccine responses in older adults, basically making the immune system a bit more agile, improving its memory.
Okay, so if this stuff is potentially so beneficial, how can you, our listener, get more of it? Let's start with food. What were the go-to sources?
Diet is definitely the first place to look. Some of the richest sources per 100 grams would be wheat germ. That's a big one, like 2 to 5 milligrams. Also, aged cheeses, think cheddar, blue cheese. They have around 1.5 to 3 milligrams. Chicken liver is surprisingly high, too, almost 5 milligrams.
Chicken liver, interesting. What about plant-based?
Oh, yes. And don't forget fermented foods. Things like natto, kimchi, miso. The microbes involved in fermentation can actually boost the spermidine content. So that's another good route.
And supplements. Are they an option? I always wonder about those.
They are another avenue, yes. Studies often use doses between, say, 1 to 5 milligrams per day for general wellness. But, and this is important, the source really matters. You generally want food-derived spermidine, often from wheat germ extract.
Why is that preferred over synthetic?
Well, the food-derived form usually comes with other beneficial compounds, cofactors, that seem to help with absorption and how your body uses it. Plus, honestly, it's the food-derived stuff that's been extensively studied for safety and efficacy in humans. The synthetic versions, less so.
Okay, source matters. Got it. Now, safety. Anything powerful usually has some considerations, right?
Generally, it's very well tolerated. Some people might experience mild gastrointestinal upset, maybe some bloating, especially when they first start taking it.
Makes sense. But I've also seen some headlines, maybe some debate, about potential risks. Stroke, cancer. What's the deal there?
Right, that's a really important nuance to address. While it's often protective, some research has linked higher serum levels, so levels in the blood, to an increased risk of stroke. But then other studies, as we said, show cardiovascular benefits. So it's a bit conflicting, maybe depends on context or other factors. We need more research there.
And the cancer connection.
That's often called a double-edged sword. See, autophagy, the cleanup process spermidine triggers, is generally protective against cancer starting. It cleans up damaged cells.
Yeah.
However, if a tumor is already established, those same polyamines, including spermidine, might potentially help sustain the tumor's growth. It's complex biology.
So caution is needed, especially for certain groups.
Definitely. Particularly for active cancer patients, that's a conversation for their oncologist. Also, caution is usually advised for those with significant kidney failure during pregnancy or while breastfeeding. The bottom line, as always, is talk to your healthcare provider before starting any new supplement, especially one with these kinds of biological effects.
Absolutely. So let's place spermidine in the bigger picture of longevity. We hear about caloric restriction, fasting, even drugs like rapamycin. How does spermidine fit in?
Well, they often share that common mechanism, right? Inducing autophagy, that's a
Ah.
key link. But something like rapamycin is a potent prescription drug. It comes with significant potential side effects. Insulin resistance, immunosuppression, things you need to manage carefully.
Right, not something you just pick up at the store.
Exactly. Spermidine, being a natural compound from food or food extracts, generally offers a safer, much more accessible approach. Think of it as complementing other strategies, maybe providing a foundational level of cellular maintenance rather than being a replacement for, say, CR or a strong drug.
So summing up for our listeners, spermidine looks really promising, a useful tool in the longevity toolbox, but it's not a magic bullet, and the science is definitely still evolving.
Absolutely. More long-term human trials are definitely needed to confirm everything we're seeing in associative studies and animal models. The research is ongoing, very active field.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on. Given how demanding some longevity strategies can be, like strict caloric restriction or intense fasting protocols, could making smaller, consistent dietary changes to boost spermidine, or perhaps carefully considering a natural supplement, be the most practical, maybe the most sustainable way for most people to lay down a basic cellular health strategy for a longer, healthier life? Something to think about.